So I'd like to do more caroling. I think that would be fun.
How far away do you get to the door? Do you go right up to their doorstep?
No, you don't stand on the doorstep. You can stand out by the road or in the driveway or something like that. So you can have somebody go up there and knock just to let them know. But no, you don't just stand there. It's not as close as trick-or-treating is. So. Not close enough to get snatched and dragged into the house. So.
I just want to share Jesus' love.
Yeah, so I'd like to do that. I think it would help me recover my Christmas spirit. I don't know if I'm right in doing this, but I kind of rationalize that there's 2 Christmases going on, and that's kind of helped me to separate myself from the whole war on Christmas cultural aspect of it that I'm supposed to be offended by as a Christian.
Okay.
But if I just rationalize that there's 2 Christmases, there is a cultural Christmas, what it means to be an American in the 20th and 21st century, and then there's the Christmas of what it means to be a Christian that hasn't changed and has little to do with anything that we actually do traditionally around Christmas. If I separate those 2, then I can start to enjoy them both separately.
Yeah.
So, but if I'm all offended about, it's all about Jesus, so you better give me my red Starbucks cup and stuff like that, I just find that it's like, how is anything that we do where churches are closed on Sunday morning about Jesus?
Yeah.
And you say that because we can't say, we can't have Santa Claus at the mall anymore because it might offend somebody, that's somehow encroaching upon my religious freedoms to celebrate Christmas. I'm like, Santa Claus has nothing to do with that. I know. So a lot of the month of December stuff, you have, in my mind, for the way I rationalize it now, is I have Christmas songs and the cultural stuff that has to do with Christmas.
Yeah.
And then I have Advent and the Christian stuff that has to do with it.
I gotcha, yeah.
And I celebrate the 2 separately.
That makes sense,
So.
yeah. I don't necessarily separate them, but yeah, that's a good point. I just think anything that points to Christmas ultimately points to Jesus, whether somebody recognizes it or not. So I just enjoy it. I enjoy the time. Not everybody's going to be on board with what I believe, but I'll just be out there and try to have a good attitude. And
yeah, I kind of do the same. We celebrate Christmas, and for me that means something that it means for you, but ultimately I know that it celebrates the birth of Christ, and I hope that you discover that's what it means years from now. Kind of like how, I think it's kind of like how Paul and the other writers in the New Testament used to point to things that the Jews had celebrated all through the Old Testament and say, see this thing, this Passover, this is really Christ. Christ is the Passover lamb.
Yeah.
And you have this cultural tradition that has been established by God, but ultimately it wasn't supposed to be the thing itself. It was supposed to point to something else. Yeah. So I guess it's like that. But then you just hear so much Christmas music on the radio, and it's called Christmas music. But if you were only in a Christian Christmas perspective, you'd be like, how does Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow have anything to do with Christmas?
Or Rudolph the
Or Sleigh Ride, or Chestnuts Roasting on Open Fire, so much stuff. And if you keep trying to have it all be about Christ, then you just get rid of a lot of the things that make the season enjoyable.
Right,
So I just say, as Americans, we celebrate Christmas a different way than they do in Africa, or they do in Europe, or they do in Asia. And that's what it means to be an American. And then as a Christian, I celebrate things that are different than they do in other states where other people aren't Christians, but are going to be similar to the way they celebrate Christ in Asia or Africa or Europe. So it's not going to be one size fits all for all cultures. And then there's going to be parts of being an American Christian that I wouldn't celebrate if we moved to another country, because that's just part of being an American. So I don't know if it's right, but that's kind of where I've come to the past couple of years, because I used to be like really cranky about it.
About the cultural part?
About the cultural part. And just say, and the place where I'm still cranky about it is when church becomes about the cultural part. And we have Christmas pageants, and we're singing Christmas songs that aren't about Jesus and stuff like that, and all that kind of stuff, I still get cranky about it because that's not where it belongs.
Right.
Church is about Advent season and about Christ coming, but not about presents and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. That's why I only give my kids frankincense, myrrh, and gold for Christmas.
I think that's safe. I think that's a good method, especially the gold.
It's so heavy. No.
It wouldn't be heavy. You don't have enough money to buy heavy gold.
That's true.
Be like, what is that in this vial?
Yeah.
That's your Christmas present. That's gold.
Yeah.
Bank on that. That one little vial, that cost me $200.
Remind me of that Pinky and the Brain where they wanted to rob Fort Knox of the gold, and then they didn't understand that gold weighed all that, and they couldn't carry it out.
That's always where you go wrong.
Yeah.
The best plan for Fort Knox was from the James Bond movie, and I think it was not Goldfinger. I think it was Goldfinger. But the best plan to rob gold is to have your own gold stockpile and then destroy the rest of the world's stockpile.
Oh, so it makes it very valuable.
It makes what's left more valuable. So because you're not going to be able to move all the gold in Fort Knox.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I like to pre-record me stealing a casino's money in the vault, and call the SWAT team in, and then take it. That's my plan.
Which one was that?
First one.
That was
Ocean's 11.
Yeah. And you put the pre-recording on the closed circuit television, so they think it's being robbed, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you come in as the SWAT team and steal it.
Yep.
Nice.
And they made 2 more movies of that.
Was it only 2? They only went to Ocean's 13?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't do like Ocean's 17 or something. Like they did Fast and the Furious.
R.I.P. Raw.
Ocean's 11 is like the white people's Fast and the Furious movies.
Yes.
Whereas Ocean's 11 stopped by the time they got to Tokyo Drift, which would have been Ocean's 13.
Ocean's 11, mo money, mo problems. Speaking of money.
What? We're going to talk about money on our podcast?
If you didn't know, this is Hadoken Debt Podcast, where we talk about being a family man,
the cultural war on Christmas.
How Harrison Ford did not get the cup of Christ because it did not say Merry Christmas on it.
And it was not a red Starbucks cup. It was
not a red Starbucks cup.
It was a brown cup.
And we talk about personal finance. But I want to talk about occasions where it's worth saving your time over money.
Okay.
I thought of like an example would be like couponing. I used to try to coupon, and you get like a Target coupon or Food Line coupon, and occasionally I'll use it, but usually it's like buy 4 get 75 cents off. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy 4 boxes of cereal, So lately I just haven't been bothering, to do that. A big example for me was like when I needed a new roof. I could have maybe fixed it with my father-in-law, but the time that it would take me to like learn to properly do it, I might not have done it right, so I might have had to hire somebody to fix my mistake, and then it would have costed more had I just paid somebody else to do it. So it's okay that I spent the money to...
Because you had money.
Yes.
At the time also.
Yes.
So I think that the dilemma, this changes as you make progress, because as you start to accumulate more money, your time becomes more valuable. Whereas if you have no money and you're broke, your time is not that valuable. Because I only have $200 in my savings account, so obviously I have to do everything for myself because I can't afford to do anything with somebody else. Whereas if you have $200,000 in your savings account, then it's like, why would I ever do that unless I absolutely wanted to.
Right.
My time is much more valuable at
Yeah.
that point. So that's kind of the two spheres of it.
Uh-huh.
But then there are also things where you do them because you enjoy them, whether it's more time or less time, or whether it's more money or less money. And I think that's a different conversation. So
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that's going to go into it because maybe you'll still change your own oil with $200,000 in your account, maybe because you enjoy getting under the car and doing that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah, because it seems like wealthy people, they hire people to do all these things, but it's because they can make more money doing their thing instead of cutting their own grass.
yeah. Or not doing their thing, but just saving that time and spending it the way that they want to.
Yeah.
So I think one of the common characteristics of wealthy people also is they don't have that much time left on the earth. And so when you've been accumulating wealth and you're in your 40s or your 50s, you're just like, I've got 20, 30, 40 years left here. And I'm going to spend money now to enjoy myself and get the quality relationships and time and stuff that I now realize are more valuable than money. So I think that's one of the places for me where it's worth saving time over money is when you're going to grow from a relationship or an experience because of it. So and this can go both ways. Some people grow in relationships when they can cook together, and other people grow in relationships where they can order out and just focus on enjoying each other.
Yeah.
And not have to do the food prep. So if I'm having you guys over for dinner, it could be stressful for some people to have to figure out what to cook and make everybody happy. Whereas we could save that stress and just focus on having fun by going to a restaurant and everybody ordering what they want.
Right.
It's a little bit more expensive and you probably don't do it as often as you might. I don't know. It depends on, how you are. Yeah. But that's one occasion where I think saving time might be worth it is if you feel like Thanksgiving could be a good example of this. If you feel everything has to be perfect and you're stressing out for like 5 days leading up to Thanksgiving, we do this at Christmas time. We order Chinese food and that's our Christmas lunch.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Because for us, it's not worth the stress and hassle of organizing Christmas food and meals and everything like that. So we just order out. So I think if hosting a party at your house is stressful, host it somewhere else and outsource that stress to somebody else with money. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of spending money for less stress.
Yeah.
But that's a good point.
So that's at the root of most of mine is, do you enjoy actually doing the thing? So ultimately where I want to be,
here we go.
I will spend more money to not have to drive. And that's where I'm going to be investing my money in the future. So I don't enjoy driving. It's something I have to do. And I do all the driving basically. Yeah. Sarah takes the kids to school, but anytime we go out, I'm doing the driving and I feel like I'm always driving. Right. So I will someday, if I'm rich enough, I will have a driver drive me places so that I can do something else. Or ideally, I will be an early adopter of driverless cars. Yeah. And that would be worth buying new for me, or relatively new. Right. In 7 to 10 years when the technology has failed enough times that they've fixed it and made it work. So well, I will be getting the newest, most relatively new car I'll ever buy will be a driverless car, more than any other technology that they can throw in there. Yeah. So.
Because you've used Uber a lot, right?
I love using Uber. Anytime I go to another city and I don't have my car, I purposefully don't rent a car. I use Uber. Yeah. I haven't gotten to the point where I'll hire an Uber to drive me around DC, but I'm getting close to that point.
A couple more trips up there.
If I ever get to the point where I'm in DC and I have to go to someplace else in DC, I'll probably end up just leaving my car at the garage. Yeah. And Ubering. Yeah.
I think Uber is smart. I think they're in the business of like banking on nobody owning a car. They just want people to use them,
Yeah.
you know?
I think that makes sense, especially in the city. There are Ubers in Charles County. There's one that hangs out at the mall.
Right.
I've seen a couple other Uber stickers on cars. So they are making their way out to the suburbs. And in that case, it's just people that can't drive themselves.
Yeah.
I'm drunk, or I don't want to mess with it, or maybe someday where we just don't own our own cars.
Yeah.
And we have drivers come pick us up.
Yeah.
Because it's so cheap also.
Really?
Uber. Yeah. The most expensive Uber I ever took was $80. And I was in their car for like an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. They were driving me from San Francisco to Sacramento basically for that.
Yeah.
So that was a lot cheaper than renting a car.
Right.
And much better than a bus.
Yeah.
I love outsourcing my driving, but not with other people.
Yeah.
I don't want a bus. I don't want to go on the metro.
Nah.
So I would rather drive into DC than take public transportation.
Yeah, same here.
So there's an Uber for jets. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No.
Some really wealthy people
Wow.
are splitting the cost of jets basically by using an Uber for private air transportation. And that cost will go down too as more competition enters the field. If the FAA can stay out of the way of it, you might find that to fly a family of 4 or 7 or something like that across the country, it's actually cheaper to do price sharing with a private jet than it is to get on a commercial airline.
And you don't have to go through TSA and all that.
Yeah, there's
crap
a lot
all
less requirements on it. So.
Huh.
So yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, something else that I would pay somebody to do is electricity. I think if you don't have a knowledge of the thing, definitely it's good to pay somebody.
I think it depends on the level of knowledge. So roofing and like not having a knowledge of electricity hasn't kept you from changing light bulbs.
Right.
And it might not keep you from switching out an electrical outlet or something like that. But there's some things where you're just like, I'm not going to put in my own garbage disposal or something.
Yeah.
There's levels of where it gets advanced.
Yeah.
So.
Like running a new electric line to somewhere else.
My shed.
Like, I don't know how to do that.
I want to put electricity out at my shed. And I'm just like, I know there's plenty of projects out there to do it myself. And I'll probably end up digging the trench myself and laying the line. But I want to have somebody out there to actually say, this is good. This won't cause your tree to catch on fire. So
Your house catches on fire.
Yeah. And plus they'll know all the codes and way to get around all the permits and make sure all that's satisfied.
Permit? What's a permit? Yeah.
So do you want to learn the skill, or is it a baseline? Have you determined that it's a baseline skill that you should know? And in that case, it's worth learning. So, like carpentry, most people should know how to use a circular saw or a drill, but that doesn't mean that you know how to use a router or Hadoken!